Good evening. You're watching the Cheese Room podcast with me, the caller, live as ever from a very frosty, chilly man cave. I've had to turn the heating up in here tonight. It's -2 where I am in the world, but I feel the warmth of the Spurs family around the world with us tonight. We've got two fantastic guests, maybe a third. We're not sure if the third world internet is working tonight. Oh, and a gonk, which is beautiful. John, how are you? You okay?
I'm all right. Yeah, I've got a bit of a cold this week, and
Yeah, me too.
I'm home alone with the kids, so I might have to run off. But that's why I'm in the house. But also the garage. I did go in the garage earlier. It was 2 degrees in there, so there's no way I was going to broadcast from out there.
It's cold. I've had
It's
to
really
crank on
cold.
a couple of heaters. It's a bit chilly, but somewhere where it's not chilly. The land down under. Cameron, how are things, mate?
Mate, pretty good. It's second day of summer in December here in Melbourne, and it's 17 and raining. So that's Melbourne for you. But I can see it's going to be in the mid-30s next week. So the seasons are flipping finally. And I've got you can just see in the background, you can see the fan on. So it is still a little bit warm in here. So I hope you're enjoying your minus temperatures.
I can see the fan and the trademark phone on the wall. Where you're watching from at home, let us know in the chat. Do smash a like while you're there. We appreciate it. Costs you nothing. Takes a second. Hit that like button. Whether or not you like the show, really, just hit the like button. That'd be fantastic. We've got a bit to get through tonight. We're off to the Etihad, otherwise known as the 3-point Etihad, this weekend. Probably, I would be willing to put my house on it that we've probably got the best record in the league against City, but it's a formidable challenge, isn't it, John? I mean, are you relishing this one given the state of how? I mean, we'll go through the injury list in a minute, but what are your thoughts about heading up there, up Tit North this weekend?
Well, I thought we'd get pummeled by Villa, and we did lose, yes. However, I don't think any of us expected that first half an hour where we should have been probably 4 up. So that was a surprise.
You say that.
Yeah.
Everyone is like literally jerking off over Villa this season. Like Gibbo, he can't help himself because he misses his Villa fan. He's like, oh, Villa is so great. They're not. They're not that good.
No, but it was more our defensive problems, was what I thought. And Watkins is a good player, and they're very good on the counter-attack. And that's why I thought we'd lose.
I think they're very good at catching teams offside. I think that's why we lost.
Yeah.
Well, and again, just like the game at Villa Park, we were stupid and Sonny's runs were poor, has to be said. He should have been better. You know, that he could have scored. That goal should have been a goal. He should have beat that. If he'd say that, wait that split second, it's 2-0. And a bit like the Chelsea game.
Well, here's the question for you, John. Was it Son's fault? Because I actually think Højbjerg, if you watch it back, he takes 2 touches. If he plays a first-time ball, the run's timed perfectly. And I think those are the margins that people miss. And I think if that ball falls to Benton Kerr, plays that pass, he doesn't need a touch. There's Højbjerg. If you watch it, that Højbjerg takes one to bring it under control and then releases it. And that's the problem. If that goes Gio, if that goes Benton Kerr, it's a goal. What I'm saying is Højbjerg is the problem.
I get that. But Sonny's played with Højbjerg for 4 years and he knows what he's like.
No, you can't. No.
Yes, you can.
On a Tuesday
night, if that falls to Chris Perry, you know it ain't going
into me straight away. Hey,
if that falls to Chris Perry or Ben Thatcher back in the day, you know it's not. There's no point running, is there? You've got to know who you're playing with.
No, I don't buy that.
Is Højbjerg your new Winksy?
Højbjerg's never been like he's on my wall actually in the man cave, but
well, JP's got in 2-footed.
I don't think so, JP. I think you need to go watch it back and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. If it was a first-time ball, Son's onside. There's no question about it. So for me, I suppose the point is you can blame anyone for anything, right? I don't blame Son for. I think his run was pretty much perfectly timed. I think the midfielder took one too many touches. But be that as it may, Villa are the absolute highline specialists, aren't they? And in terms of offside, certainly. I think they've caught teams offside this like the most offsides in Europe or something like that. Yeah. I saw some crazy stat, which was also Dracula's signature manoeuvre at his previous club as well in Spain. So difficult, isn't it?
I always like porridge. Anyway,
It was like what?
porridge. Norman Stanley Fletcher.
John, 100% right. Well, it's got to be right about something now and again. There's two things John talks sense on normally: catering and running. But Cameron, are you intimidated by going to the Etihad?
Normally not. In light of our injury list, yes, I am. Because obviously you can see we've been gutted in most positions. Obviously, you've got Romero out, you've got Madison out, Richarlison, but Van der Ven. Obviously, this time around, yes. I think if it was, we played our first 11 now, I'm actually quite confident because we were.
That's the stat.
Yeah. No, I would have been quite confident. This time around, though, pragmatic me saying, this looks a bit hairy McClary because our centre-back pairing having to put up with Haaland will be could be a bit scary, so to say.
Haaland versus Emerson Royal. Brendan with the budgie smugglers. Are you worried?
About Emerson Royal up against Haaland? I am. The weird thing is I watched Brazil-Argentina during the international break. I was watching Emerson a lot, and he was okay. Defensively, like in the air, because he was done in the air quite recently against Uruguay, I think, for Brazil. Was it Uruguay? I think it was Uruguay.
What position was he playing? Right,
he was playing right back.
Yeah,
it wasn't centre back at all. So I remember thinking, he's actually right in the air, but up against Haaland, it's a scary proposition.
Easy, that Haaland's overrated. Honestly, comes down the Murger on a Tuesday night. I'll show him who's boss. So, either of you any of you got the injury list? Before we go into the injury list, can one of you look up the exact injury list? Because I can't name all 10 players off the top of my head. Brendan, how are you?
Good to see you guys. It's been a while. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for dropping in. It appears you've changed location. You were in Brazil, in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What's your name? Steve Diver?
Yeah, no, I think it's caused me to be a bit pixelated, a bit slow. So I might remove the background so you can see my boudoir where the action happens. But
Okay, are you ready?
Go on then, reel it off.
According to Flash Score, Bentancur, Madison, Perisic, Richarlison, I'll come back to Romero, Sessegnon, Solomon, Whiteman, Van der Ven, Sarr. Is that anyone missed? And then you've obviously got Romero suspended.
Yeah. So it's a good time to play Tottenham, right? I mean, Man City were probably shitting it previously, but 10 players out, it's easy, isn't it?
They've got De Bruyne out, and then Kovacic and Nunes are questionable. I think they're injuries rather than as players.
De Bruyne wouldn't make the starting 11, would he? Let's be honest. So that's
bang average.
He's bang average. So, I suppose at this stage I should add some slides up here. Man City versus Spurs. This was them last time out. Do you think, Brendan, this is pretty much what we'll see at the weekend?
So are they 3 at the back there? Sorry.
4.
Is it? There's 4.
That is 3 at the back, yeah.
It's 3.
Unless Haaland's in goal. I mean, Haaland could be in goal.
3, yeah. Yeah, but they mix it up. Don't they? One always drops back in. So I think they've got
Akanji and Ake, who are superb as well. So the thing with them, they play almost 4 centre backs whenever if Walker doesn't play. So you'd have Diaz, Guardiol, Ake, and Akanji, all just solid, but all can play both centre back and fullback, which we could do with as well. I'd say defensively, I think they'll go for at the back. I'm surprised he's done a 3. I don't remember Guardiola playing a 3, but he always mixes it up, always challenges himself.
He's the expert. John, you put this together. Any commentary on that?
Yeah, I mean he changed more to this 3 at the back system this season. Last season he started using the right back moving into midfield, and this season he's gone very much more the 3 at the back. And if you go to the next slide, caller, which was Liverpool last week, it's the same formation but slightly different. I think Ake came in rather than Gvardiol, and Doku, who is having a hell of a streak at the moment.
Count Dooku's on the left wing. We're in trouble.
Count Dooku, yeah. He scares the bejesus out of me. it'll be an interesting battle with Porro. I think tomorrow he'll definitely be him playing. I'd imagine.
I think that's the team that will play us pretty much.
Yeah.
Cameron, who worries you in that lineup?
Every one of them. No, look, your Fodens, Silvers, like we're bare boned at the moment. So that's an attacking. We like to push forward, but with that lineup, that's going to be pushing forward a fair bit. So I would assume on the training pitch this week, Postecoglou's got some defensive mechanisms in place because Alvarez, Haaland, the whole bloody team scares me, to be honest. With Pep at the wheel.
Yeah, it's a worry, isn't it? But Pep was sort of bigging up Big Ange in his presser. Did you see any of that today, Brendan? That's he's just sort of said, it's great to have him in the league and can't wait to play Spurs and they're really attractive and all the rest of it. Saying lots of nice things about Spurs. He can't call us the Harry Kane team anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch Guardiola's press conferences that religiously. I find him quite slightly Arteta-y in his approach with journalists, the arrogance, but at least he's earned his arrogance. But the press conference from Ange was interesting. He's like, we'll always give it a go, and he's going to.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you about. Do you think? I'm going to ask this question to all of you. So I'll go Bren first. Is Ange like we all love watching attacking football? We all love Ange. But do we really think that going to the Etihad and trying to attack is sensible management?
Well, we might as well. If we can sit back and get pumped as well. So I'm
not asking us to sit back, Red. I'm just saying surely there's a slight bit of game management and balance there, no?
I'm sure there is an element of that with Ange. As much as he says we only play one way, we only play to win, he's not an idiot. This whole sort of naivety and stuff. No, he knows what he wants from the players. There's going to be phases of play. He's not going to just go all Ozzy Ardiles or Kevin Keegan. I think that he's a bit more sophisticated than that. Saying that,
we haven't been so far though, have we? I mean, let's be honest.
We haven't been pumped though. We've been pumped by Chelsea because we were down to 9 men. But who else has pumped us this season?
Okay.
I'm still dreading it.
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, under Jose, we went there and got beat just before he got sacked. We got beaten 3-0 there because we just sat there and just let them keep attacking us. And if we do that, you're going to concede. Obviously, under Conte, we won there in his first season with that amazing. Do you remember my 9-point plan of how to beat Man City, caller? Which weirdly came true, and it was only done as a joke. Basically, shoot at the corners at Emerson, and he will concede. But our finishing has been, as mentioned in the comments earlier, has been terrible this season. We've got to start hitting the shots on target. And it does worry me that Sonny's the only really one that's going to score goals. And if he's not quite at it, we're struggling. So Johnson or Hill or Kulu have got to really start stepping up and getting more. I know Kulu scored a couple, but we need shots from the edge. Do you remember Lamella scoring in that 2-2 game from 30 yards when it didn't even go in the corner? You'll take Lamella, will you?
I missed that, man. Coco.
You miss him, do you? So does the treatment room. Yeah, they will have high lines, so we'll have chances. So this could be another 4-3, I'm a bit like with Bren. You might as well go for it because if you just sit there, we're not good enough at defending. They'll end up winning easily, and I'd rather we score a few goals.
Yeah,
none of us really expect us to go up there and win. So let's just go for it.
Ange only knows one way. So yes, he's going to attack, but he's more sophisticated in some of his mechanisms in place. I'm sure one or two midfielders might, quickly sit back on certain phases of play, and maybe one of the fullbacks doesn't invert the entire game. He'll have certain things in place, but he will only still play attacking football. Ange is never going to be that sit-back kind of manager. We know you've seen that. I've seen that for many years in the number of teams he's actually managed. So he'll be quite sophisticated with some of his mechanisms in midfield and probably at the defensive line. But yeah, he's still going to push forward. And Brent makes a good point. Like the only time we really got pumped on the scoreboard was when we had 9 men. And that was 9 men to a full 11. So we haven't really been pumped this season. So we do have to score to give ourselves a chance.
But we haven't played City yet, to be fair. And I'm not talking about, the misconception. There is not just like one extreme or the other. I'm not talking about us parking the bus and putting people behind the ball. I'm talking about sensible game management, which hasn't, in my opinion, always been demonstrated this season. Chelsea is a good case in point. We could have got a draw out of that game. Admittedly, we could have won that game, but I think it was pretty kamikaze to attack with 9 men. Just plain stupid, in my opinion. I think there's definitely a balance to be had, albeit I really enjoyed watching it. But from a points on the board, a bit daft. Regardless of what anyone thinks, I respect your opinion, but you're wrong. Be that as it may, this is the form, is it, John?
Yeah, that's their list of games.
Ferocious
Most recent
form.
top left.
Ferocious form, aren't they? I mean, they have dropped a couple of points this season, a couple of games this season, haven't they? I mean, they were beaten by the mighty Wolves, so we've got that in common straight away. And the Goons beat them as well, didn't they? So they're not completely infallible, are they, Bren?
No, I think like the 4-4 with Chelsea, which was incredible game. I think that showed that they can be got at. That if you are brave, then you can penetrate. But it's I just with the injuries that we've got, that's the issue. Like if we had a full squad, we'd be having a different discussion, but we don't. So it is a worry. It's almost a free hit, which it would be almost anyway. But yeah, they lost to Arsenal. That was an awful game. That was probably the worst game I've seen this season. I was in Bogota in Colombia at the time, and I made a point to watch it and was just like, this is awful. And the goal summed up the game. Just this really shit deflected, sort of like awful attack. So they're not gonna spank us. I expect us to lose, but it's not gonna be raining goals. We're not that stupid.
You can fluff up stats any way you like, can't you? Right? Would we all agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Fluff ups, yeah. This would be 4 defeats on the bounce if we lose to City. How many times has that happened in the Premier League to Spurs before? Ooh. Any of you?
Never.
Correct, Brendan. It has never happened, which would make Postecoglou, ironically, one of the best starts as a Tottenham manager ever.
Yeah.
And then one of the worst losing streaks as a Tottenham manager ever. Yeah, we couldn't get Andy back for this show. Apparently, he's combusted. He's self-combusted. I believe he's doing something to do with the court case. You know, he's fighting off FPP charges wherever you look. So, you know, and this is the point. I mean, you can make stats look whatever way you want. We know the truth lies normally in between. Our injury list. So, Duncan Patrick confirming that Bentancur will be signed on for a couple of months. So I believe he's got torn ligaments. And Sarr is also out now until the new year. What in God's name have we done wrong? Because we just got a flood of injuries, haven't we? We're left with the prospect of Ollie Skip being a key linchpin in that midfield, Cameron. How do you feel about that?
It's grim state of affairs. To be honest, though, I thought Skip would be better than he has been this season. He's been below par, to be honest. I don't know if he's fully accepted the Ange style of things, but it's...
Well, he's barely played, let's be fair. He's played like 2 games worth of football.
Has it been more than that?
I don't think so. He started the first game, didn't he?
Yeah, but I thought he's come on. So
yeah,
I actually
the only game he started. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't be distant, boy.
Yeah, it's not great at the moment, but Ange said there'll be bumps. Guys, we've got to remember we're going to get bumps. This is the transition year. Look at me in year 2. So we're going through a transitional period.
I suppose the good news is we've got some easy fixtures coming up. City away, West Ham at home, then Newcastle at home. Then, in fairness, it does get a little bit easier till we get back into sort of anniversary on every team in the league and start playing everyone again. But where do you think we're going to be come, 1st of January? Where do you see it?
We were helped by having that amazing start, like you were saying, one of the best starts. It is the best start in the Premier League era, our best start since the 60s. So that has given us a buffer. So we can, I'm not saying we can afford to go through this period, but it makes it a bit more palatable. We've got 4 points off top, which is insane. So I'd say come 1st of January, we can pick up points. The home games in particular, we've got to make White Lane or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a fortress. Ange, like you saw, his home records, that went 50 games unbeaten at home. So if we can bring that, I think we can do West Ham. Newcastle, they're in a similar position to us, although they've got Europe, but they've got a lot of injuries. Forest away is winnable. Everton at home. So yeah, we can. We're fortunate that the busy sort of festive period, we haven't got one of the big ones. We're getting Man City out of the way now. So if come 1st of Jan, look, I reckon top 5 still. I can't see us dropping that far.
Yeah,
interesting. I'm going to record this definitely. John, where do you think we'll be?
So where at the end of December, where do we be?
January the 1st, yeah.
January 1st. Now the problem is, we've said obviously we know Newcastle will be a tough game. West Ham will be a tough game because they're always up for a fight with us. Even Forest at the City Ground are not an easy team to play. So if we're not on it, they'll turn us over. Everton, you'd hope we'd win, although they've generally been a lot better. I think they were quite unlucky against United, from what I gathered. Brighton, which I might be going to, will be a tough game, as we know. The trick with Brighton is just stick it behind their fullbacks. That's where teams seem to have success. And Bournemouth New Year's Eve, you'd hope we'd win that. I don't think. Where's the league? The league's on here somewhere, isn't it? Let me find it. Oh, there. There we go. We're only 4 points behind Arsenal. I think if we get off these fixtures and we're no more than 8 points behind, I think we've done well.
Yep.
Given the injuries.
We'll have Romero back. Like, he's the last game without Romero. He's so important to how he plays. He does, although the aggression, as we've seen.
But he might be suspended again by January the 1st.
But who's back the turn of the year? So who's back the turn of the year? So you got Sarr back, you got Romero back theoretically. Who else?
Banter won't be far off.
Banter's going to be February, isn't it? At least.
Yeah,
we've only got 2 league games. We've only got 2 league games in January.
Madison's end of January.
So that's a blessing,
right?
Yeah.
But that's if he heals well.
What's the specifics with his? What's the specifics with his ankle injury? Was it a long-term build-up? Was it a knock? Because the Chelsea game, it didn't look like he got a big hit. They went after him, but
so he's been carrying that injury since the start of the season, but it worsened during the Chelsea game. So it's torn ligaments, is what it is.
Torn ligaments. Okay.
But he's been carrying an ankle injury all season, and also a hip injury because he's a Spurs player. They all carry hip injuries. Shakira. So he's had a hip injury since the start of the season, and he's got torn ligaments in his foot and his ankle. That's why Madison's out. And the problem is, talking to my source who knows Madison quite well, has followed him his whole career, he doesn't heal well. So when he's out with like a little injury, it takes him a lot longer than most people. So he does tend to miss, unfortunately, quite big chunks of the season. We saw it with Leicester quite a lot. So Madison, I don't think you can ever fully rely on his fitness. Son is also, by the way, a bit of in the know for you, has also been playing with an injury for the last couple of months. So there you go.
And what's that? What injury is that?
I believe it's an ankle injury as well. He's got some limited movement in the ankle, but yeah. So I mean, a lot of the players, but I say that, but most Premier League players are playing on injuries all the time. Like, it's not unusual. for players to play through injury. That's part and parcel of the game, unfortunately. It's just how bad the injury gets, and I think Maddison was a bit unlucky in that he obviously aggravated it and tore it. So, I personally think we're going to be 6th or 7th, I think, come January the 1st. And I think if we are, and like you say, if we're in shooting distance, we can have a good run in, because you're going to get a lot of players, I think, that are going to come back at sort of, end of January, end of February, hopefully come back to full fitness at the same time. So if we add in fresh. January, that'll be fresh. But if we add a bit in January as well, a couple of players, which we can touch on later, just centre backs really. That's all I want to see: centre backs. I don't think you're going to get a great out and out striker in January. I'd love us to, but I think the centre backs are absolutely crucial, because if we had centre backs, we'd have won the game against Villa. I'm quite convinced of that, because we don't concede those goals. That's my view. So we'll see where we get to with it. Postecoglou, when I asked if Spurs, I mean, we covered this already. I ain't going to change, mate. Basically. And then as our recent games against City. So like I say, we're kind of a bit of a bogey team for City, aren't we? Do you look forward to playing them, Brendan? Do you think, yes, City?
What? Who has ever thought that? Oh, since the takeover.
There's a few games missing off there, to be fair. Is that all the away games? That's all the away games.
It's the away games.
Yeah.
At the Etihad.
What was the face plant? The Davinson Sanchez face plant. That was the 4-2, was it?
That was the 3-0.
Oh, was it 3-0?
That was on the Mourinho.
That was epic. That was one of my favourite moments. Because you can
see
what he's trying to do.
It was a great face plant. What a gift that makes.
It's just using your body, and I guess defenders are trained to do that, to use whatever you can of your body to stop it. And he's like, you could just see him losing balance. Like, okay, bonk. Oh, it was epic. But yeah,
when it happened in real time, I was laughing my tits off, even though we just conceded the goal. But I got to say this, just on Davinson Sanchez. Do you think we now regret letting him go?
Absolutely, 100%. No, because he went to Turkey, and the Turkey deadline day is after ours, so we couldn't get anyone else in. So we got a bit of money in, but we got 15, probably paid over 5 years or something. So we should have held on to him, bearing in mind we couldn't bring anyone else in. It was a risk, and we've seen now with the suspensions, with the injuries, that it was a risk that wasn't worth taking. I'd rather have him in that squad. See what he could do in a run of games under Ange. Ange clearly doesn't fancy Dyer, so
why did he would have been quick? He's recovered. Yeah. That was the one. That was his game. He was rapid.
Yeah, with the right coaching, maybe it could have worked, but it was. I don't know. I think maybe the board were under pressure to get money in for players, and that's why we didn't sell him during our transfer window to get someone in. It was after our deadline. I remember thinking at the time that is a huge risk, and look what happened.
I mean, it gets worse, because obviously we sent Tanganga out as well, who's also not slow. He's quicker than
both
Dyer.
of them can't kick. Both of them are terrible on the ball. And Ange's whole game plan is about the centre-backs being able to play football, which is why I think he picked Emerson, who's not even our best attacking fullback, at centre-back ahead of Dyer. Because, Dyer, he has always been okay, obviously gave the ball away for the equalising goal up at Wolves.
Dyer's not bad at distribution, though. He's not terrible at distribution.
Who? Sanchez?
No, Dyer.
No, he's not generally, but I think that's one of the reasons. But Sanchez has got an awful touch. In the game he came on when Romero got injured against Brentford, it was his bad touch that led to the equaliser or the second goal. Terrible. And that's the problem with him. But I agree. The pace-wise, I thought he might do all right under Ange, because he made sense and would have been a half-decent backup for Van der Ven. But I think with a year left in his contract, they just thought, let's just cut our losses now. We were all worried that we only had basically two centre-backs plus Dyer. Because even Ange said he saw Davis as a left back originally. I think Davis has done pretty well there, and Davis almost scored on Sunday from a header. But Davis and Emerson, there's not enough height there, not enough ability in the air, and that's where I can just see them swinging a few crosses in all set pieces, and Haaland just destroying us potentially. Let alone the balls down the side, and the goal that Watkins scored where they just cut us open. And obviously I was high up in the West Stand at that end of the stadium, so I had a really good view of it. And you could just see it opening up. It was so obvious what was going to happen. Whereas if we'd had Romero or Van der Ven there, I think they would have stopped that.
Yeah,
and maybe because centre back partnerships. And how many times has Davis and Everson played centre back together? Probably the first time, maybe subs.
Yeah. I think you could see that when the Ollie Watkins goal occurred, they were both shouting at each other afterwards. They were blaming each other. Sorry, Cameron.
Yeah, I think the club hasn't done anything favours for Ange. He's literally come in, if you remember, just before the pre-season tour. So he actually didn't have that much time, and they hastily brought in Van der Ven, and people thinking they'll let him just settle in. And literally, he was starting that game straight away when he'd just come in, he's just been brought in. So I think we just didn't do the best thing by Ange to actually get another centre back in and letting the defenders go. I think he's been dudded by the club when he's just come in for the first 6 months. So,
do you not think, though, Cameron, just on that, to play devil's advocate, Ange says he has the final say over all transfers. Do you not think he would have okayed that? Because I do. I actually think he probably went, fine, mate. He's not for me, mate. Probably dropped a few mates in there just for good measure.
The Sanchez one's interesting because I think he mentally checked out as well. I think he was a bit scarred by the club, the fans, potentially. I think he just said, I need to leave and have a change. And he's a player that we probably needed mostly. But I think part of me says yes, but a part of me I also think his hand might have been forced on one or two of those transfers. Because I think what's his name? The defender that left, I've just mentioned him 2 seconds ago.
Sanchez.
I think he's basically, I would have liked him to stay, but I think he really wanted to go. So Ange's hand was forced. I think he was checking out late last season mentally. So he does have the last say, but in some instances with Sanchez, I think he really wanted to go.
Okay. So here's my challenge to you all. I need to refill my lager. So we're going to go around one by one. Start with you, John. Sorry to put you on the spot. You're 11. What would you do if you were Big Ange going up to City? Who would you play? And I'll be right back. Just fill for me.
Okay. So I'd be really tempted to start a very similar 11 to last week. Obviously, Basuma's going to come in for Bentancur. It's an automatic choice. And then on one hand, I'm tempted to put Kulusevski back on the right wing because we know he can drag the team up the pitch. But on the other hand, having Hill and Johnson exploiting that space behind City could be the answer. The problem last week is, A, we weren't very good at getting past their offside trap, and B, we didn't play enough balls into those channels. But if we can get that right, I think that's really a way we can counter City. Obviously, in that 3-2 game a couple of years ago, number of times Bentancur was just clipping the ball through, or other players. Porro's very good at that, finding those gaps. So I'd be really tempted to go with Kulusevski and Lo Celso again, although that might mean we get overrun. But they're the best ball players, and you need to be able to keep the ball against City and use it well. So if you can have those two with Basuma in the middle, Johnson and Hill on the wings, obviously Sonny up front, then we've got three really fast players. Now, I was really disappointed with Johnson last Sunday. He didn't take his fullback on at any point. He just wants a bit like Aaron Lennon later in his career, just wanted the ball played through rather than trying to take a player on. But I think that Hill cut inside a few too many times for me. But I do think give these guys a chance. We've got very few other options. So let's go for it. So do you go Dyer? Do you go Emerson? It's really, I mean, ultimately, is Dyer going to stop Haaland any more than Emerson is? Probably not. So I'd probably go the same back four. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Romero's got another game back left, hasn't he? So same back four. Basuma in for Bentancur and keep the rest the same. Bren?
I think that's what's going to happen. I still would play Dyer, though, bearing in mind just the aerial threat from Haaland. I understand Ange's logic, but I think we do have to adapt to the team that we're playing. I get the the philosophy, and I love it. I do. And maybe long term, this is the right decision. But when he was flat out no, I think it was Alistair Gold or someone asked him, should you not play Dyer, bearing in mind the height of Haaland? And he said no. His flat answer was no. So he's not going to play Dyer. He's not going to play Dyer. He's going to play Emerson Royale. He's going with the same defense. It is literally just going to be Bissouma in for Bentancur. So look, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We should be looking at the long term. I am dreading this game, though. I am fully dreading this game. For the neutral, I think it'll be incredible. For me, I'm going to go a bit grayer. How about you, Cam?
Same as King Hoddle, which I was just about to say. I'm dreading this as well, Bryn. Vicar, Doggy, Davies, Emerson, Porro, Bissouma, PH, Lo Celso, Johnson, Son, Kulu. It was exactly what I was going to say. I straight out echo the same sentiments as you guys. I think Haaland was up for a hat trick this game. I honestly think we're going to look long game and not short game here, because I've seen a lot of, reactions after our third straight loss, saying, "Oh, Andrew's this, Andrew's that." This is a long game with Andrew. It's not going to be even if we get murdered, we've got to ride those bumps. And we're warned this was going to happen. But even last week, we should have blown Villa off the park 3 or 5 goals in that first half. So it's not like we're losing, but we're still attacking. You can see the intent to win. You can see the intent to score. It's just that we don't have the same weaponry on the field. So win, lose, or draw, I'm dreading this game, but I know there's a long game play here. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of transfer windows where Ange is able to imprint his image onto the lineup.
I mean, for me, I wouldn't pick that team. I think it's likely Ange might, but wouldn't surprise me at all to see Kulu in the number 8, Lo Celso, Bissouma, no Højbjerg, and in Hill on the left. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So I think Hill had a pretty decent game. I think most people query the end product, but he was doing a lot of the stuff that Ange likes well. I do believe that. So wouldn't surprise me at all to see. No, it wouldn't surprise me if he picks that team, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if I see Hill in the lineup to start.
If we had an old school striker, that cross by Hill is a goal.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, again, it was right. I was right behind it. It was beautiful ball.
Yeah, Richarlison would have buried it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brent.
I know. I was just from the Villa game, the link-up play between Lo Celso and Hill was quite interesting because Lo Celso is very left-footed, so he would always sort of veer to that side, and that made Hill sort of get the ball a lot more, and he was hugging the touchline, which is what Ange wants from the wide players, wide forward players.
Exactly.
So,
does anyone think Decky had his best game in ages? By the way, in the middle.
He's consistent. I think he's been normal. Like he's been really good. Like the effort he puts in, I thought he's been really good.
Not effort in terms of product. I thought he created a few opportunities. He obviously hit the post when he should have scored. But he was getting it. I thought he had, and the pundits certainly thought he had one of his best games in a Spurs shirt. Just didn't get the reward in terms of goals. But I thought he was quality in the middle, and I thought Lo Celso, by the way, bossed the game at times. I thought he was superb. Absolutely superb. We lost the plot when he came off.
I'm going to use the Paul Muir line here and say there's green shoots like GLC, as you say, Decky, even Hill. Like you've got to remember that some of these players haven't had the opportunity over the last few years, and Ange is actually cultivating these good performances out of these guys whilst we've got a shitload of injuries. So there's a blessing as much as these losses have occurred because of the injuries, but they're actually in the system. They're actually learning how to play the Ange system. Good things will happen, and even if the first team players come back, at least your GLCs and your Hills and others are now aware of what they have to do in game. Ange ball.
Yeah. I just thought the Celso was class. I think I hope he continues in that role, and I hope Decky continues in the middle. I almost sacrificed a bit. I mean, Johnson's not natural on the left. He's far more natural on the right. I think it's a better fit. It gives you better balance to the side to have Hill there. And Decky is a central player. He said that after the game himself. That's the role that I like best. I don't really enjoy being on the right wing as much. And I thought he thrived on it.
There was times when Johnson, Porro, and Decky got a bit too in each other's way, whereas on the left they seem to work more as a unit. So that's just a case of, I think Porro kept wanting to go on the outside sometimes when he's supposed to go in, and obviously Decky automatically goes out to the right wing. And there were some times when Johnson was almost redundant. He was just stood there while the other two played around him because they used to. That's something they need to work on.
Yeah,
but you're right. I think. I got frustrated with Hill coming back. Again, I want to see Hill take the fullback on at least once, because by doing that, you give the fullback.
I think that's just it's confidence, John. It's confidence, and it's about getting a run of games. And for those players, GLC, Hill, it's about they haven't really. Hill's never had a chance in a Spurs shirt.
100%.
He needs a run of games. Everyone goes, he's not suitable for the Premier League. He needs to get used to the Premier League by playing in the Premier League. Like it's bullshit. The body weight thing is complete nonsense. Some of the best players in the Premier League history have been diminutive. Yeah. No, you disagree, Bren?
A bit. He needs to bulk up. I think. He's a different player. Like I think that
saying it's not a barrier. A physicality is not a barrier to being a fantastic.
No, I still think David Silva is tougher than Hill. Like they took the hits. Hill is not taking the hits. He's just getting brushed off all the time. So I don't remember seeing Luka Modric being brushed off.
I mean, Hill won us a penalty. A fact. Like, there's no way in a million years that wasn't a penalty on Hill. That was a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. We got elbowed in the face.
Lamela got sent off at Arsenal for that. In the game, he scored the Rabona. Exactly the same thing, didn't he?
Exactly. So, I do think judge Hill when he's had a run in the team. I think fine, slag him off, whatever, but at least give the guy a chance. And I think Lo Celso, just want to see him start. I just want to see him start games, stay fit. I think he could do great things for us. I actually think he is better than Sarr in that position. I genuinely do. I've always thought that. I've always been a GLC fan. I just think his injuries and his attitude can be a problem potentially. I don't think his attitude's that bad. I think it's been like hyped and made to sound bad when it's not necessarily. But there you go. It will be interesting to see who starts. That's what I would say. Here's the Premier League table. So when we beat City, we'll be level on points with them. Look at that.
100%.
Would you believe that? Would you believe that?
So we beat them 6-0. We'll get level on goal difference as well.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah,
love it.
Just on centre backs. Does everyone agree that Royal should be the centre back? I saw a question in the chat about Højbjerg. Could he play centre back?
No, Bren doesn't.
Would you put Dyer? What would you do, Bren?
No, I'd go Dyer. I would. I know. But just for the aerial presence, like from corners, who's going to mark him? We haven't got any height. None of us. After Bentancur went, that's it. Our height's gone. We are a team of Oompa Loompas, and it's going to be exposed. They are going to.
Isn't Basuma quite tall?
No, he's not. I don't know. He doesn't look it.
He's 6 foot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I'm not very, obviously I'm only 5'8", I'm not very big, but I did walk past Basuma coming out of the Tunnel Club on Sunday, and he was there, and I was like, bloody hell, he's quite tall. I was really surprised because he doesn't.
He's 6 foot. He's 6 foot.
I feel better.
Same height as me. But carries a bit more with his haircut. But.
Corners, we're going to be done with corners. Our organisation against Villa from corners, the defensive organisation was abysmal. Right. City will exploit that. Yeah. Villa didn't.
Yeah, and I do think that. I mean, I would play Dyer. I'm with you, Brad. Actually, I would play Dyer. I know he won't because he's directly said he won't. But for me, you've got a guy there who's played for England centre back. He's got the experience. Yes, he switches off for 5 minutes a game. You've just got to hope you get away with it. And he's also got the turning circle of the QE2. But I accept all of those, but at least he is a recognised central defender. Royal looked all over the place at times against Villa. Opening 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then in the second half, even for the goal, I know I had a back and forth with HG saying it was his fault. HG saying it's not. I was sat right behind that goal. He was nowhere near him. Nowhere near him. He didn't read it. He could have got across because it was only a couple of yards, but he did not read what he was going to do. And an experienced centre back there, there's no way Watkins gets that opportunity. I'm telling you now, if Van der Ven was there, nothing to do with pace, by the way. Nothing to do with pace.
Defensive now.
Reading the game. Defensive now, reading the game.
If Dyer was there, Watkins could have skinned him. That's the only difference.
Yeah, but I don't think he was directly. I don't think any of the, unless I'm recalling it wrong, I don't think any of the centre backs were directly exposed one-on-one where Watkins could do that. So I don't see how that would necessarily come into play.
No, he sort of raced through. He basically was racing into the.
In that situation,
Davis got dragged out, didn't he? Got behind him.
If you read it in the first place, it's not a problem. It's a non-starter. It doesn't happen.
I mean, Romero puts him in the stand, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Romero's freed up a lot this season.
I think Dyer would have stopped that goal. Genuinely do. Lots will disagree with me, no doubt. But I'm not defending Eric Dyer. He's been shit for most of the last 12, 18 months, really.
Since he got in the England team, wasn't it? After that Leicester game.
Was actually
the 6-2 game that we met up at.
He had a good spell, but he did have Romero next to him as well. He's going to have Ben, but at least he would know Ben Davis in terms of he's played at an elite level with Ben Davis alongside him. Emerson hasn't, and Emerson is a right back. I think it's very tricky. There is no good option. You're absolutely right, James. You are absolutely right. It's about getting the least worst option, and Milk turns faster than Dyer. That is also true. But as I said, I don't think in the Villa game that would have been a particular issue, to be honest, because they didn't get in behind us much. And let's face it, Raw's not rapid, is he, Brent?
He's not.
He's on pace.
It's not his key strength, but it is. He's faster than Dyer, obviously, but
I'm faster than Dyer, Brent.
I think we are being overcooked. These are elite athletes. We're knocking here, and these are fine margins. But at this level, the margins are what wins you games. And if we go Dyer, if we go Emerson, it's still not looking good.
No. Well, be that as it may, we push on. Score predictions, then, people. Let's have it. Let's have it right. Tell me how the game's going to go, John. What are you saying?
4-2 City.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Cameron.
I was going to say 4-2 as well, and that's annoying. But
you are allowed.
Yeah, I was going to say that myself. We're going to score. Son loves scoring against City, but yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be 4-2 City.
Brent?
My immediate thought was 4-1, so I'll stick with 4-1.
Spurs? Yeah, good man.
Yeah.
I'll go 6-1.
What?
5 for Sonny.
I can see us. I can honestly see us. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I can see this being a demolition job. I think we'll be pressing on. We'll be playing so high up the pitch. I think the centre-backs will be completely exposed at set pieces. We're going to get done big time. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to agree with you there. One thing I think we're going to see tomorrow, he's going to start Emerson Royale at centre-back. We're going to be 3-0 down after 20 minutes, and we'll sub him off for Dyer.
Even better, he gets sent off.
Is Ange the type to do that?
He'll have to.
I don't think he would.
We need height. We need height in there. We do. We like set pieces, corners. City aren't going to be. They're going to be more on it than Villa. They're going to really target those balls in. Bernardo Silva's got a peach of a. Is he right foot? He's right foot, isn't he?
Glad you said his right foot. Yeah.
Peach of a buttock. So yeah, I can see. Yeah, and Foden as well. Jesus, it's But look, we'll get through it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's fine. We still have our team. We still have faith in the manager and our philosophy. I'm not looking forward to this game whatsoever.
It's going to be a bump in the road. We'll probably get the piss taken out of us by every other set of supporters after the game if we get hammered. But we move on, don't we? We've got West Ham on the horizon. The fixtures do get softer towards Christmas. So, this is the first sticky patch. The second sticky patch is right near the end of the season, isn't it? And it's quite a big sticky patch. But I still think if we get our full side back January, February, we'll give anyone a game. I would be quite confident going up to City with a full squad of players. If you imagine, let's flip this on its head for a minute and just live in fantasy land indulge me for just 2 minutes. If you've got Van der Ven and Romero at the back, you've got your fullbacks playing. Obviously, Sessegnon's even available, so there's a bench option. That's a joke, by the way. Can laugh whenever you like. Yeah. You've got your full strength midfield, you've got your forwards. Richarlison's ready to come in and bang a header off the bench, Brent. You're going up to City, I would say, fairly confident of having a real good crack at them, right? Would anyone disagree with that? Does anyone think we'd get turned over big time with our first team? I don't.
No,
I really don't. And that's what we've got to be mindful of, because we are a good side. We just do not have the players right now, and unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? We've been unfortunate. I am positive, but positivity and blind positivity are two separate things, and I just think I just think with where we are at with the injuries, we're going to struggle. But if we had a full team, which we will have a full team at some point, that is inevitability. We'll have 1, 2, 3 players out max. We will give anyone a game, and I think we're going to be fine. So let's just hope let's just hope I'm completely wrong. Right, let's predict these weekend fixtures. Arsenal versus Wolves. John, go to you first.
Oh, I mean, Wolves obviously are having a decent season, but Arsenal at home, you've got to favour them on this one. I'll go 3-1 to the Woolwich.
How many VAR decisions do you think Wolves won't get this week, Brad?
Oh, 7.
Especially with Arteta, with his it's embarrassing. This is not the best league in the world. Oh, Jesus, just bugger off.
Like a James Bond henchman.
Gooners are going to win that, obviously, and it'll be a VAR decision that they'll get because Arteta puts pressure on the referees and the PGMOL, and that's all he does. He's a whiny little bitch.
I have to say, how well has Gary O'Neill carried himself this season? He's
really good.
Revelation, hasn't he? It's been a revelation. Cam?
2-0 Gunners.
2-0 Gunners. I'm afraid I'm with you, Cam. I'll go 2-0 as well. Brentford, Luton 10. John?
I think Brentford 3-1.
Brentford 3-1. Brent?
I'll go 2-1. I think Luton are tough to break down. So, 2-1.
Brentford 1-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-1. Yeah, 1-1. Burnley, Sheffield United, John?
Ooh, Sheffield United to win 2-1.
Okay, Brendan?
Maybe a draw, maybe a 1-1 draw. Burnley are sinking fast.
Yeah, Cam?
Burnley 2. Sorry, it'll be 2-2.
I'm going to say Burnley are finally going to get lift off in their season and win 3-1. Forest, Everton, John?
1-0 to Forest.
Brent?
I can see Everton. Yeah, I mean maybe a draw. I'll go 2-2 draw.
Serge Aurier conceding a penalty, maybe.
Arise, Serge Aurier.
Hit the like button. Jack H says, "Hit the like button." Absolutely right. Sorry, Cam, what are you saying?
2-2 as well.
Desmond, I'm going to go for a Forest victory. I can absolutely see Forest turning Everton over at home. Everton deep in the mire. They're going to be even deeper in it once they've been to Nottingham. New Asselpet, John?
1-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Can you all sound more
5-0.
interested? You sound like you're about to like drop. You sound like you're on death row or something, and you know.
So I'm trying to do the comments at the same time, so I'm concentrating on that, and also the WhatsApps keep appearing on my laptop as well. Dave keeps messaging us. I don't know what he's messaging.
Focus, he says.
Hey?
Focus, he says, as he can't find his phone. Bren.
5-0 Newcastle. Philippe Albert lobbing. Philippe Albert lobbing Onana from the edge of the area. I'd say I think 3-1 Newcastle. I think they'll do United.
Can we just all agree Onana's a fraud?
Can we just discuss his goals last night? They were amazing, weren't they? Those 2 free kicks.
Just a clown. Cameron?
2-0 Newcastle.
I'm saying a solid. I mean, Newcastle is a hard place to go. But when you're as shit as Man United, it's doubly hard. I'm going to say 3-1, especially as I'm friends with a lot of Man United fans. Bournemouth versus the Villa, unfortunately, John.
2-1 to the Villa.
Brent?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Maybe even 2-0. 2-0.
Cam?
2-1 Villa.
I'm beginning to dislike Villa, like unnaturally so. But draw. I'm going to say a draw. 1-1. Chelsea Brighton, John.
Oh, this is a tough one, isn't it? Brighton.
Could be some sparks in this game.
Brighton played Thursday, so you'd favour Chelsea. I'm going to go 2-0 to Chelsea.
Bren?
I think Brighton can do it. I'm going to go 3-1 Brighton.
Cam?
2-2. I think this could be a cracking game because there's a few Brighton players at Chelsea, aren't there?
Yeah, Cucurella, ex-Chelsea, ex-Brighton even. I think Brighton will turn them over. I really do. And, Fatty Poch will be crying again. I'm going to say 3-1 Brighton. Yeah. Liverpool versus Fulham. I'll go first on this. Liverpool are going to pump them 4-0. Sean?
Yeah, I was thinking 4-0. Go with that.
Brent?
3-0.
2-0.
I love the way he's 4-3. I should have started at 5. Would have had a perfect set. West Ham Palace, John?
Oh, West Ham. Again, they played Thursday. Palace haven't been great, though, have they? 1-1.
1-1. Bran?
I agree with that. That was my first thought. 1-1.
Cam?
I was going to go 2-2.
It's going 2-2 with everything, Cam. How many 2-2s you had?
Desmond. I think West Ham will beat them, unfortunately, 2-1. But they have got they might be resting players for us on Thursday night. Obviously, it's the Caravan Cup final coming up, so they're going to have to rotate to account for that. I mean, that literally is their cup final. Albeit, I probably shouldn't talk too much about cups because obviously they did win one last season, didn't they? But no one gives a shit about the Conference League.
It's not even a cup. It's there's holes in it. It looks like a really shit vase. It's not.
You'd be able to put a drink in that, would you, Bren?
Yeah, it would just fall out. It has to carry a drink. The whole point.
It's Tim Pot, right? It's Tim Pot. Yeah. This is in the slide deck, John. Talk us through Jermaine Defoe. He is Edo.
So I was representing Mr. Diver and trying to get a new client, but Defoe doesn't want any agents at the moment who aren't unlicensed. Apparently, that's an issue.
Interesting.
Very good.
Where do we all stand on that? What do we think is coming our way? Do we think we're going to get a points deduction? John, you wouldn't believe this. I'm nearly out of beer again. You talk about this for a minute. Points deduction, John. What's your thoughts? Did you ask Jermaine why he used unlicensed agents? Back then.
No, unfortunately, didn't really get the chance. This is a better question: is he fit? Can Ange use him? I think he'd do well in the end as well, even now. I can't see us getting anything major. A fine at most. It seems to be Portsmouth are more at fault than us in this. From what I'm gathering, I haven't read into it that much, but ultimately, it was a long time ago. If anything. Is it the FA investigation or the Premier League? Because the FA can't fine us points. The Premier League can. But if they do that, if they say they give us a 3-point deduction, a City going to get what, a 500-point deduction? And there's going to be other things going on in this. But my understanding is,
so you talk about the scale of punishment here.
Scale of punishment, yeah. And if anything's going to happen, ultimately, it was Thomas was working as an unlicensed agent for Defoe, not necessarily for us, but there was a licensed agent who signed off on it all.
Yeah.
So it really is what the, and ultimately Defoe was leaving us, going to Portsmouth. So it's more a Portsmouth thing, I think. I may be wrong.
It's all from phone records as well. Like you said, the official signatory, the person who signed the deals was a licensed agent. He used Mitchell Thompson, and they wheeled out the agent that was snubbed on TalkSport, and there was a big row between him and Simon Jordan. It was great. Simon Jordan doesn't like agents. He was sort of like talking about your kind, and I was like, "Well, be careful using that kind of terminology, mate." Bearing in mind the background of the agent in question, but it was a points deduction at best. Like it looks very much like a journalist who supports Chelsea or City is feeling a bit edgy. It was, let's dig up something from the past that Spurs did. At the time, there were so many unlicensed agents flying about, all being used. It's not a big deal. And yeah, if it's anything more than a fine, I'd be very surprised.
Wouldn't you say that the Tevez Mascherano thing's worse than this? Because that wasn't technically an agent; it was a business that was their agent.
It's third party ownership, yeah.
Like could they reopen that? It's like how far are you going to span these kind of records and setups, commercial setups, and everything? Like, where do you want to go with this?
I think didn't West Ham get a fine for that?
That was settled. Yeah, they settled that with Sheffield United.
They got a big fine. Yeah, they got like a £15 million fine, is it, or something like that?
Yeah, Sheffield United were relegated because they'd signed those players basically, and Tevez scored the goal to get them up. So Sheffield United were awarded 15 million because that's what they're saying that a relegation would cost or something at the time. So that was settled. But exactly, it is just going back. It's a digging up of an old story. Just for tabloid and TalkSport, it's not a. That's why we haven't released a statement, because it's not a big deal.
They probably can't release a statement because of legals, aren't they? They're probably being, the club do tend to keep things close to the chest, so that's probably why.
Well, I would trust Daniel Levy in this situation because he never does anything, off the books, does he? There's no chance we're ever getting caught for FFP. And I think that's what the opposition fan who was a journo thought. Well, they're not going to get done for FFP.
Yeah.
Find something to screw them with. Talking of FFP, no, not talking about FFP. Talking of score predictions. If you like the score prediction round of the show, we do have our Patreon. Oh, look at that! There's me and me tux. Thanks. Good editing, that, John. I like it.
For those of you who haven't watched, you do normally watch. That is a new tux from this week. It's a new picture.
A new tux. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was out and about in Birmingham this week, surrounded by Villa fans, unfortunately. But our Patreon is fantastic value. We've kept the price low. It's inflation busting. £3 a month, you get exclusive content, prizes and discounts through our partners' football prizes, and we have smiling as well. Slimming. Oh yeah,
slimming.
No, well maybe. We have prizes and discounts. So we run the predictor score, which Seb runs every week. So if you like the predictor score section in this, you would absolutely love our Patreon group. There's the Fantasy Football League. There's merch after a qualifying period. It's all £3 a month. And the best part of all, we have a ticket exchange, which is really cool. The best part of all is you get to converse with like-minded patrons on our exclusive chat group 24/7, 365. There's always someone awake because we are truly global. Ain't that right, Bren?
Indeed.
Brilliant. What's this one? Alistair Goldwell. Oh yeah, no, we know that. We've covered that. Look, we'll be going just over an hour. John, have you got anything more to say for yourself?
I've got quite a lot to say for myself, but probably not tonight. It's same for another show.
It's been fantastic.
But we're going to go to see. We're not going to lose, even though I said we are. We're going to smash them 6-0.
Look, I'm getting a pelters here. Like, How did you know, King Hoddle? Did you stop breathing in that picture? No, clearly not. I was smiling.
Is that the scene from Ghostbusters? We're like, come on, guys, with the Ghostbusters, suck your gut in.
No, there was actually no sucking of gut. I'm lean, man. I play football every week, play a bit of paddle.
And you've been going to the gym a lot, haven't you?
I hit the gym about 4 times a week,
Yeah, you have.
Pumping those guns. I want the physique of Brendan. But Brendan, on that note, Brendan, thanks very much for joining us this evening. It is always good to have someone on from Brazil.
Yeah, mate. No, great to see you. Great to chat with you guys. Just remember, guys, to look out for the Monday show, which will be hosted by myself and other great guests that I'm going to line up between now and then. But yeah, good to chat with you guys.
And of course, we'll have our post-match pod. Who's on this week? Is it Franco, I assume, leading that one?
Yeah, Franco hosts it as a weekend show. So Franco hosting, maybe me, maybe Paul, maybe Seb, maybe others. But yeah, that'll be out Sunday evening.
That's right.
UK
And Cameron.
Request, Bren, from King Hoddle.
Get a victory back
Victory
on.
back on.
Hang on. Brent brings the stars, so get a victory back on. Sandro, I'm not sure if that's definitely directed at you. Do check out the pod. It's on all good podcast providers. Cameron, thanks very much for joining. I bet you feel lost without your fellow Aussie JP here.
No, I'm sure he's busy today. I'll probably reach out to him if he's up for a catch up sometime soon. But it's Ange. Everybody's following Ange down here, so keep in mind that the Spurs support has grown significantly down here. So we're watching from afar.
It's a no-lose scenario for us. If we win, it's great, and if we don't, then just blame an Aussie. On that bombshell, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you all with us tonight. So please tune back in on Monday, where you'll see Brendan's beautiful face and dulcet tones. But until then, come on, we can do this. It's only City. We always beat them, and we can. If we did it with Nuno, and no Kane, we can do it absolutely this weekend at the Etihad. Come on, the Spurs!
Come on, Spurs!